Frank Klotz is the Department of Energy's Undersecretary for Nuclear Security and the Administrator of the NNSA. Administrator Klotz has served his country in a variety of military and national security positions throughout his career. And here's Administrator Klotz.
Thank you very much, Mark, and good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're delighted to see so many people turn out for this event. And on a personal note, I'm absolutely delighted to be back in New Mexico and to represent the Department of Energy and the National Nuclear Security Administration at this first ever Industry Day hosted by NNSA and SCMC. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the entire New Mexico delegation for their leadership, for their public service, for their strong and abiding support to DOE, NNSA, and our missions and our people, and for making this day possible. I can tell you from personal experience, every time I go up to speak with the members of the New Mexico delegation on issues associated with NNSA, they are always very passionate about New Mexico and the role that New Mexico plays in this very important enterprise. NNSA has been proud to be a part of New Mexico for a long time now. But you know, even the best of neighbors often learn something new about each other with each passing conversation. So if I could just take a couple of moments to briefly explain NNSA, who we are and what we do to protect the American people and provide for national security. Now, NNSA itself was established by Congress in the year 2000 as a semi-autonomous, independently organized agency within the larger Department of Energy. It's responsible for three primary missions. We are responsible for maintaining the safety, the security, and the effectiveness of the nation's nuclear weapons stockpile without nuclear explosive testing. We are responsible for preventing, countering, and responding to the threat of nuclear proliferation and nuclear terrorism. And we are responsible for developing, producing, and supporting the nuclear reactors that power all of the U.S. Navy's aircraft carriers and all of the U.S. Navy's submarines. It's a pretty tall order. But we carry out these vitally important and enduring missions in laboratories, in production plants, and in other facilities located throughout the United States, stretching literally from coast to coast. And of course, we're very proud of the facilities here in the state of New Mexico that contribute so much to those missions. Los Alamos National Laboratory, Sandia National Laboratory, and WIP. Now, in carrying out these functions, we, the government, the Department of Energy and NNSA, actually rely upon a prime contractor to manage and operate each of our sites for us. Manage and operate. So we refer to these contractors as our M&O partners. And the purchasing, the procurement that is done by these M&O partners is done by their director of procurement, their director of purchasing. They're all here today. So when we get into the networking sessions later on, I urge you, get to know them, buttonhole them. Establish a personal relationship with them because they're the keys to how we go about making the purchases in this enterprise. But I will tell you from the federal government's perspective, from the perspective of the Department of Energy and from the perspective of NNSA, we are absolutely committed to maximizing small business obligations and participation as a matter of long-standing policy. To this end, we challenge each of our M&O partners to spend at least 50% of their procurement dollars with small businesses. Just last fiscal year 2015, our M&O partners exceeded that goal, which would have worked out to be about $1.4 billion, by spending over $1.7 billion with small businesses. That's about half of all the contracting that M&Os do. Now, as part of NNSA's commitment to be a responsible steward for the tax dollars, the Supply Chain Management Center, or SCMC, was created in 2006, just 10 years ago, to help us effectively manage $4 billion worth of purchases made each year by NNSA's M&O contractors, as well as those sites that fall under DOE's Environmental Management Organization. Now, SCMC is not a federal agency. It's not a federal government office. It is, in fact, a relatively small activity managed and operated by Honeywell FMT, headquartered at NNSA's Kansas City National Security Campus. And it has an advisory committee made up of those same procurement directors, which I hope you get to know, from each of our sites. SCMC works with our M&O partners to combine their collective purchasing power and award multi-site commodity agreements for products and services like commercial software, travel, lab supplies, bulk fuel, safety glasses, and so on. Now, the reason we set it up was to achieve efficiency and savings, and in the 10 years it's been around, more than $600 million in savings have been realized to date using SCMC strategic sourcing tools and leveraging common commodities. $600 million is a lot of money. Money that can also be used by our sites, Los Alamos, Sandia, WIP, to pay for programs, to pay for infrastructure, and to hire people and create jobs. Importantly, SCMC does not replace local purchasing functions or shift procurement budgets from the sites. It's one of a number of tools the labs and production plants can use to save money and gain efficiencies. NNSA and EM sites continue to purchase goods and services according to their own site purchasing requirements, including the small business goals that I mentioned a moment ago. There's actually no government mandate for them to use SCMC. Now, of all the commodity agreements that SCMC has made with suppliers since its inception 10 years ago, 67% in terms of the dollar value have been awarded to small businesses nationwide. So by now you may be asking, well, what does all this mean for small businesses in New Mexico? Well, New Mexico actually has the highest number of small businesses with SCMC agreements of any state. New Mexico is also tied for the highest number of agreements awarded to all businesses, large and small, of any state. In part, that's because SCMC considers the unique impact that DOE contracts have on local economies and incorporates site-specific requirements into agreements that help to level the playing field for competition and for performance. As a result, there have already been some noteworthy New Mexico success stories. Senator Heinrich alluded to a couple of these. In 2014, a Santa Fe company was awarded a national-level agreement for computer products with an estimated value of $200 million. I understand this company was able to grow its workforce in part because of this agreement. Just last year, an Albuquerque woman-owned small business was awarded a regional-level SCMC agreement for industrial supplies worth an estimated $35 million over 7 years. These and other examples illustrate how companies can take advantage of SCMC's unique relationship with the DOE sites, with its geographical reach, with its marketing tools, its processes, its data analysis, its services, both to gain business and to grow business. Now, in a moment, Scott Beeson will explain how the day will be organized. As I did at the outset, I encourage you to take full advantage of the information briefings, the networking sessions with the procurement directors from NNSA and EM sites. Our chief procurement person is here, Barb Sterrett, so you can talk to her from NNSA. She also made the trip out to be with you today. Representatives from the Small Business Administration, and well as the opportunity to meet with the SCMC commodity managers. Now, finally, during the course of the day, we also hope to hear what's on your mind. A former boss of mine used to say that in any complex undertaking, there's a 100% chance that fallible human beings, even with the best of intentions, won't get it 100% right 100% of the time. So let us know. SCMC has already made some important changes to its processes and procedures. such as making provisions for regional agreements based upon your feedback. We've also probably missed something in how we organized today's event. In both cases, we genuinely look forward and welcome your feedback. So with that, I wish you all the best for an enjoyable day, but most importantly, for a productive day. Thank you.